Hey Blake, this is Mrs. Skoglund. Just wanted to give you a little feedback on your summer assignment. So we're mostly going to be talking through chapter 1 since that was the question that you starred, but I will kind of reference some other parts of your project throughout the video as well. All right, so the first thing that I look for in a body paragraph, which is what this structure is a topic sentence, and what we want that to do is be the first sentence in your paragraph that really answers the question and kind of previews what's coming in the rest of your evidence and paragraph. So I think like in the L-directed questions that I saw from you, you sort of like reference the question. So like here, what's the difference between R and L-directed? You sort of say, well, they're different in that they determine a person's personality, thoughts, and behavior. But I'm not really sure that distinctly tells me the difference between R and L-directed thinking. So I almost think what you did at the end here, where you're sort of breaking down the specific differences between the two, that's going to be more of what we're looking for in a topic sentence and the answer to that question. So just make sure that you're really hitting that right off the bat. The next thing I look for is actually at the end of your paragraph, and it's a concluding sentence. We also want that to go back up to the question and sort of like signal to the reader that the paragraph is over. I really couldn't find like distinct concluding sentences, Blake, in most of your paragraphs. Like I think what you have at the end here is more commentary for your second piece of evidence. So that would be a good opportunity for revision if you want to go back and add sort of a summary that ties the whole paragraph together and helps your reader to know that it's over. All right, next I looked at evidence. I think this is the strong point of your writing right now, Blake. I think you did a really nice job selecting evidence, and actually I'm going to skip to chapter 2 where I really noticed this. So I liked how you talked about a bunch of different jobs that were being affected by like the 3 A's, and then you sort of talk about some of the specifics of what's going on there later. So I thought you were definitely picking quotes that related back to the question. I also think you're on the right track with your embedding or how we like integrate evidence. So let me skip down to this one. Like when I read this out loud, it's the left was thought to be the crucial half, the half that made us human. So even with the quote, like that flows pretty nicely together. The only reason I didn't give you a 10 on that, Blake, is we'll talk about this with embedding quotations in class, but we're not using the ellipsis or the ... correctly. And also when you have something flowing together, you want to make sure you want to make sure that that's uncapitalized. So we'll work on just kind of some of those details. But I thought you did a good job overall on evidence. On your commentary, I think this is an opportunity where you could go back and revise, Blake, because I felt like a lot of your commentary, you pick good quotes, but then like notice here, you kind of just summarize exactly what the quote pretty much already said. So like in this example, I think some better commentary would have maybe talked about why the left hemisphere is important and why the right hemisphere is important, or maybe given an example of what the left hemisphere could do and what the right hemisphere could do. But I think just trying to get beyond just sort of repeating what's been said. Lastly, I looked at conventions and citations. Conventions, watch out for just kind of some random capitalization here. You also have what are called fragments occasionally, like this one, as well as the use of each side of the brain or functionality. That's, if we read it out loud, like that's just not a complete sentence, so be really careful there, okay? In-text citations, you are super close on, like this looks great. The only thing is you're not going to have any punctuation or this period at the end of the quote. So I know that seems really small, but we'll want to go back and kind of clean those up and fix those. I thought you did a nice job on your R-directed activities as well. And the one I wanted to talk about was the story one with this TED Talk. I thought that this sounded, I haven't seen this TED Talk, but it sounded really interesting, and I liked how it sounds like he, rather than just like lecture, really walked people through each like different stories that proved his point. So anyway, just wanted to give you some feedback.